Hello, I just want to make a couple of observations about the George Floyd and what's his name, Derek Chauvin trial. First of all, because I've got a friend of mine who just said she's been watching it and found it very interesting. I didn't ask why, but I just thought I'd just go and have a look at it myself and just see if I can spot anything straight away. Well, straight away I do. Okay, so first of all, what's happening here is these events happen. So, as we know, black people get killed by the police when they were arrested. All sorts of people do, probably proportionately more so black people. So when the media want to make a story out of something that's true, instead of actually finding a real event or using a real event where the narrative they want to push could go out of control, they can't control the narrative. They can't guarantee they can control the narrative. Instead, what they do is, and this is called spycraft. This is what the spies do. There are spies who are forensic experts. There are spies who are judges. There are spies who are policemen. There are spies who are everything. Yeah, so they can fake an entire story. There are spies, obviously, in the media. The media is just full of spies. They are the main spies. Okay, so they can fake an entire news event using all of their people and control the narrative. So they'll say, well, these events are true. All we're doing is we're staging the entire thing. We're staging a truth because then we can control the narrative. We don't have relatives that will come out and say something completely off script and throw the whole thing off track, etc. So that's what they do. So what we know is George Floyd had a big 33 tattooed on his back, or on his chest, was it? Or was it chest and back? Okay, now what are the chances? What are the chances? We've been monitoring staged events by the 33 people and the 322 people. They like to tell us. They like to tell us in symbol and in code over the years that they are the people that do these staged events. So what are the chances? The chances are very, very slim that some random black guy is going to have big 33 tattooed on him. Yeah, and it's not going to be the same people that have been staging the same things. And all these major events, all these big major events, they don't risk doing real news anymore. Like I say, because they want to control the narrative, so they stage the whole thing. Again, we don't have to guess this because we have, I won't show it you now, but if you have a look at a Middle East Eye article, there's an article there which basically says the entire thing, apart from the act itself, is staged. But you can surmise that the act itself is also staged because they have to stage the act itself to control what the relatives are going to say. Okay, so looking at the George Floyd trial, straight away, the state are calling this witness. A couple of things I noticed straight away about this. So this is all theatre. It's using actors. It's using people that will probably cry because they have been trained to cry. It's using real people, real forensic experts who have been hired in their past life, probably in the military. They've been hired to be a spy when they go out into the civilian world and to take part in such events when necessary. Okay, so this guy here. Now, what are the chances that this guy, who is the only person who has seen the dead body, was working for the Defence Department before he became a forensic? What are the chances that he was that also the chief? Well, let me explain as we watch it.
And if we could begin by having you state your full name, spelling each of your names.
My full name is Andrew Michael Baker, AndrewMichaelBaker.
Mr. Michael.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Dr. Baker.
Good afternoon.
You know, first of all, you conducted the autopsy on Mr. George Floyd.
I did.
Well, first of all, his eyes tell me that he's not at all comfortable and he's scared about how this could go. But let's just carry on.
So the autopsy. Why don't we explore your background a bit? You're the chief Hennepin County medical examiner.
That's correct.
And would you tell us what it means to be the chief medical examiner in Hennepin County?
So I've been the chief medical examiner for Hennepin County since 2004. I'm actually the chief medical examiner for Hennepin, Dakota, and Scott counties. My office provides service to all three of those counties, which is about 1.85 million Minnesotans, or about a third of the state.
It covers 1.85 million Minnesotans. Now remember this, because it will just so happen that the chief is the one who is doing the. Let me explain as we watch it. is doing the work on his body. Yeah, not the assistant, or not one of the many, many, many that are under the assistant at 1.85 million. Yet this was before they knew that this was a major news event, or who he was.
Falls within our catchment area. Being the chief medical examiner means that I supervise the rest of the staff, in particular my other physicians. I have 6 other doctors as well as a doctor in training that work under me.
So there's an assistant chief medical officer, and then there's loads of doctors that work under him. These are all people who will look at people like George Floyd as they come in. They're the people that will usually do the autopsy, not the chief medical officer. So straight away, you've got to ask yourself, why was the chief medical officer doing this straight away? Because they didn't know at the time that this was going to be a big psyop in the media. Okay. But it's because, I'll tell you why I'll answer that my own question. Because the 8 underlings, and the assistant chief medical officer are not going to be the spies. The spy is the one who came from the military and is going to be chief medical officer. Yeah, he's going to be the spy. He's going to be the one that they're going to use for these staged events.
And so before becoming the chief, you were the assistant chief.
Correct.
And that was in roughly 2002.
Correct. I was the assistant chief medical examiner for 2 years.
So all in has been going on 19 years as either assistant chief or the chief.
Correct.
What did you do before joining the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office?
Are you asking me to go back to my educational background or just my postgraduate training?
Maybe to the Air Force. To the Air Force?
Oh, prior to coming.
See, he didn't want to give this information away. He was hoping that he wasn't going to have to give this information away. It well may be that the prosecution involved in this have no idea that these people are spies, and these people are just told what to say, and it's a compartmentalized need-to-know basis type thing. It's not that they may not all know, but he didn't want to give this information about his military background, but now he's going to give it.
In Hennepin County from 1998 to 2002, I was a major on active duty in the United States Air Force. I served as a forensic pathologist for the Department of Defense. Our unit was known as the Armed Forces Medical Examiner, and at that time we were headquartered in the Washington, D.C. area.
Okay, so he's a spy. 100% definitely a spy. Yeah, he's worked for the Defense Department before he became Chief Medical Officer. Okay, so he has definitely been recruited during the military to go out into the civilian world as a spy. Yeah? And look where he is now.
Are you board certified in any areas?
I am.
Would you tell us which ones?
I am board certified in anatomic and clinical pathology, and I hold subspecialty certification in forensic pathology.
Doctor, would you tell us what the National Association of Medical Examiners is?
Yes, the National Association of Medical Examiners is the professional organization for people who do what I do for a living. I want to say we have about 800 or 900 members. Many of those are fellows like me, meaning they're fully board certified forensic pathologists. We do have a variety of other membership categories as well for
Freemasons,
investigators, for administrative personnel, and for other support personnel in the profession.
Now, you are former president of the National Association of Medical Examiners.
Yes, I am.
In fact, at least as of to date, you're the youngest.
Amazing. They've got, and he's the youngest as well. He's the youngest
president, or were the youngest president ever to hold that position with the NAME.
I don't actually know that that's true, but I will take your word for it, counsel.
He's definitely 100% a spy. He's the youngest ever. He's a president. He's a chief medical officer. He came from the military, and he was the one, not an underling, but he was the one that did the autopsy on George Floyd's body before they knew it was going to be a media psyop. What are the chances?
Sorry, I did not know that.
Yeah, I thought I was just listening to you, Dr. Baker. So, but in any event, you have been the president of NAME.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, the president is going to be a spy. Okay, so let's have a quick look at this one, because I've only seen a little bit, but let's just have a quick look at George Floyd's girlfriend.
Not your address, but generally where you live.
Yes, I live in Northeast Minneapolis.
How long have you been?
I just want to say about this, I've just watched this, or a lot of it, some of it. This is a woman who knows she's going to be in today she knows she's going to be in front of the world's cameras, right? She's not a bit nervous. In fact, quite the opposite from being nervous. She's loving it. She's absolutely loving it. She's loving.
In the Northeast Minneapolis area.
My entire life. I was born and raised.
And can you tell the jurors how old you are?
I'm 45 years old.
Seems like a strange question. There is a reason for it.
Okay.
And do you have any children?
I have 2 boys.
And Miss Ross, did you know George Floyd?
Yes.
When did you meet George Floyd?
I met Floyd in August of 2017.
And you refer to him as Floyd?
All the time.
That's
Okay, I won't go any further, but straight away you can see she's loving this, absolutely loving it. Okay, too much so. It's not, this is these are people who know they've got fantastic futures ahead of them now. Yeah, on sort of chat shows with Oprah or something probably. Okay, so it's fake. It's fake. It's all fake. These are fake, staged events. I will watch some more. I know some people have been crying and stuff, so it'll be interesting watching that. But this is interesting because how it's going to turn out now is how they stage it and engineer it. So there's people saying if this turns out wrongly and he's acquitted, then there's going to be riots. That means they want riots. I'm pretty sure, unless they've got no control over the jury here. They're going to control the whole thing, in my opinion. Whatever the outcome is going to be in it is going to be the pre-planned outcome. And if there's going to be riots at the end of this, it's because they want riots for whatever reason. We know they love riots because they can push agendas off the back of it.